Clarkson and Homer, investigating the issue.
And what a lovely issue to be investigating in some ways. I mean, a real issue when it comes to, young people, babies needing safe homes. But we're hearing some lovely stories, Liz Clarkson.
Yes, it's
about those that have been receiving that.
Yeah, so we're talking about foster care this week, and it is one of those things where I guess you could focus on the negative of the fact that foster care needs to exist in the first place.
Yeah.
But we're also hearing some really beautiful stories about the positive experiences that young people who've grown up in the system have had, and also those loving people who give so much by becoming foster carers, and really interesting stories about why people need foster care in the first place.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily what we automatically go to some really terrible things, but sometimes people just need a bit of a helping hand.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to be able to give those kids a safe space to be while they're getting their lives back on track. So today I am bringing you the story of Heather. Now, Heather is a single mum. She's got 2 kids of her own, and they're kind of, one's an older teenager, and they're getting older. But I did say to her something like, "Oh, so
Did you use the word independent? Are they independent?"
And she kind of laughed, and I said, "Oh, well, I suppose it's still a lot of parenting. It just changes as they get older."
Yes, it doesn't stop. Never stops.
So she's also become a foster carer and has looked after about 5 kids for Barnardos in the last 3 years.
Wow.
So I spoke to Heather, and I started by asking her why she wanted to become a foster carer.
It's something that's always been in my heart, to become a foster carer and work in the child protection field. A lot of time speaking with my biological children about it and learning about the system and how things work. We decided now was the right time. It changes your family dynamics too, and it's actually been a really positive thing for our family. Not necessarily because they're older, just because it teaches them a whole new perspective on life and what challenges are in the world and how you can make a difference. And I've seen other carers become foster carers with little ones, like biological little ones, and their children know no different either. So I don't think it's as important as what I thought it was to have older children, because you still have your challenges with your biological children.
Yes, they just change, don't they?
They do. They become different challenges, that's all.
Now, you've cared for 5 different foster children over the past 3 years. Walk me through that.
Okay, we've had sibling groups, we've had tiny ones, we've had up to the age of 5 we've had. So, it's they all leave little footprints on your heart. Each and every one of them. They all bring their own personalities, challenges to your family, and you fall in love with them. You can't help but fall in love with them.
And then they're only there with you for a short time, is that right?
Yes, depending on what the court says. The beautiful thing about foster care, which I didn't realise until I became involved, was sometimes when children come into care, they don't have a secure attachment, and as short-term foster carers, we're able to teach that child how to attach to someone, how to rely on them, know that they're going to be there for them whenever they need them, and then when the child moves on, we can transfer that attachment, which is a powerful thing, because once the child learns how to attach to an adult, it can be transferred.
Wow.
There's actually research to support that, and we get to do that. Like that's amazing. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do.
Wow, almost teaching them about trust, I guess.
It is trust and dependability, and not all grown-ups need to be scary.
What an amazing job. So what is it like then if you're I guess, a short-term carer for them? What's it like when they then move on to either permanent care or back to families or whatever the situation may be?
I won't tell you that it doesn't hurt. It does. It rips your heart out. It's a challenge, but you know there are more out there that need you as much as those ones did, and I'm very blessed. I have ongoing relationships with different ones where I get to find out where the children have ended up. Both my children and I have been invited to ongoing birthday parties and family events.
So what's the change been like for your kids? How have they found the actual experience?
The eldest one I found, both of them really, have no tolerance for drugs and drug abuse. They have no tolerance for domestic violence. They're very aware of situations. They're more tuned in with gut feelings, and they're fiercely protective of children, which I believe is a positive thing. Unfortunately, before I came into this sector, I believed that it was a low demographic situation. That's where children that were abused were. But unfortunately in society, it goes right across all walks of life. I think that was one big wake-up call for myself. This can happen to anybody.
There you go. That's Heather's story, and some really interesting advice there at the end there, that it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
That anyone can end up in those situations. And she talked a lot about mental health as well. That's often the reason why kids end up in foster care, just for a brief time while parents are sorting out their own health.
Get some respite.
Yeah, and so if you have been inspired by Heather's story or have been thinking about foster care for a while, Barnardos in Newcastle are pretty keen for anyone interested to find out more that you can contact them on 1-800-663-441. That's 1-800-663-441. If we've been too quick with the number, please
give us a call.
Give us a call, and we'll happily hand it over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Liz.
No worries.
Wrapping things up with Foster Care Week as far as Clarkson and Homer goes. Same time.